the dope game will get you so comfortable. If you don't have any trouble, you don't have somebody robbing you, you don't have somebody shooting at you, you don't have somebody trying to put the police on you, don't have no run-ins with the law. Oh man, two years to turn to 20 years in the game real quick. My grind was legal. My hustle was legal. My product was illegal. I didn't have to change my grind and change my hustle. I just had to switch my product. When I'm looking at TV, they tell me somebody else has raised $6 billion to buy an NFL team or something like that. And I'm like, and you mean tell me I went to jail for chasing some thousands? Thousand there? You know what I'm saying?
We're here for the introduction of In and Out. It's a movement to change the world. It represents all things and all of us at all times. It's about freeing ourselves of any prison. Welcome to In and Out Podcast, where I have dope conversations with extraordinary people who have been freed from some form of prison. I am Eric Geralt, your host, and today I'm talking with Stephen Jones as he takes us along his continuous and incredible journey of beating the longest odds and achieving great success. What's happening, my friend Stephen? I want to thank you for coming on and spending this time with us. And I want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself and tell us a little about what you're into, and then we can get into our dope conversation.
I got you, man. First and foremost, man, I want to thank you for inviting me on your platform, invite me, you and your staff, and hospitality and everything. From the first phone call to the day, it's been nothing short but amazing. And I see bright things everybody in the world will know about In and Out before it's over with. My name's Stephen Jones. Today I stand before you as I'm a 47-year-old married man. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a school counselor. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a real estate investor. I'm a trucking in the trucking industry. I'm everything. I'm a lot of stuff. But what I am, I'm a ex-felon. I'm an ex-hustler. I'm a guy who had to walk down the wrong way. I had to get it wrong to get it right. I'm somebody who went from being part of the problem to becoming part of the solution. I'm a very transparent brother. I'm somebody who's not ashamed of where I've been, because if you don't know where I've been, you won't appreciate where I'm at. You really look at me like, oh, why did it take you so long? If I had to tell you, I had to go the long way. So
no doubt.
I made some mistakes, but I've learned how to capitalize on those mistakes and use my mistakes as lessons for other people, for the youth, for the community. And every day I live my life to try to reach somebody, teach somebody, inspire somebody, encourage somebody, motivate someone. And yes, I am a child of God. I'm a Christian. I was a PK growing up. You know, people always assume that a preacher child was the worst kid it is anyway, but I was a bad kid growing up. I look back now and try to see where did I go wrong. I thought I was a good kid. My mom and dad thought I was a good kid, but I did, as I got older, I got influenced and got interested in some things that once I got in it, I figured, I said, man, ain't nothing to it but to do it. I like this. I like what I like the accolades. I like the status. I like the power. I like the instant gratification. I like all that came with it, not really realizing that I was compromising who I was born naturally to become an artificial version of myself. And it just took me a lot of trials and tribulations for me to understand who I was and to learn that I had to go back and figure out, how did I make my mistakes and how could I correct my mistakes, but also how can I take my baggage? How can I take my scars and repackage that and make it something unique moving forward in life? And I've been fortunate enough to be able to do that, but I had to change. But I'm going to take a break and let you ask some questions, because I talk all day, man.
No doubt. Well, listen, number one, Stephen Jones is someone that he's an extremely authentic person. And here at In and Out, I try to vet my people that I'm going to sit down and talk to, because we want to bring nothing but 100% realness, authenticity, and everybody that's on this platform with me having this conversation and giving that real game. I feel like it's going to impact people, because the whole purpose of it is to be able to reach people and make an impact in people's lives. So when, one of the things that impressed me the most about Stephen is that he wanted to make an impact in people's lives. And, so nobody on earth, I haven't met anybody yet or read about anybody or seen or heard about anybody that's perfect except for one. And that person is not a person anymore. He's not alive. So, none of us can say that we've been perfect. So he, just like me, we've made mistakes in our lives, but the whole purpose about it is to show that no one single event is going to define us. It's not the end of the book. There's more chapters to be written. And that's why I really appreciate having Stephen Jones on, and you all too should. And you should listen up, hurry up and listen, because he's giving some real jewels to everybody out there. And it's a pleasure and a privilege for us to be able to have him take the time and share a lot of his experiences with us. I'll start right off by asking, and I appreciate you being transparent and open, Stephen. So I want to ask, what exactly did you do time for? And how much time did you do?
I did time for selling a little small piece of dope. But I learned that the initial crime that sent me is not where it really sent me. It was the first decided to get in the game that sent me. It wasn't the first move. It wasn't the last move. It was the first move. So it was a small sale case to a friend of mine. I was the first time offender. Ended up getting a 45-month sentence. It was life changing. It was like a world turned upside down. I know to some. I remember when I first got in prison, the guy I was down in medical was a guy that was finishing up a 38-year sentence, and he looked at me.
38 years, you said?
38. He said, he looked at me. He said, "Hey," he said, "Don't." He said, "Listen here." He said, "Where you from?" I said, "I'm from Alabama." He said, "Listen, bro, don't get caught up and start thinking doing time is cool." He said, "You're doing the dumbest thing you ever do right now." He said, "Finish up that little sentence you got and get back home to your families and raise kids and make something out yourself."
That's no joke.
I appreciate it, OG. I mean, he was half black, half Haitian, and he shared as we grew a relationship from that point on. But
Big
then
up to the Zoes. I'm Haitian, half Haitian.
yeah. So when he was one of the realest dudes and one of the most thorough dudes I met in there, because he kept it so real. And I had to realize that, dang, a lot of people want that status. A lot of people think saying they've been to prison, it's just like coming home saying they passed the bar exam. They think they give them, couple of tattoos, little prison sentence. You come back now you're a certified gangster. You're a certified hustler. You're a certified OG. And nah, that wasn't he having that one conversation right away. Initially, like it just gave me some direction.
Gotcha.
He didn't try to say it eloquently. He didn't try to use no $5 words. He told me exactly what I need to hear. And he gave it to me real, because he was everything that the streets thought. It was sort of somebody like a legend or something talking to you. So that's what led me there, man. Look, selling dope, in which, the case that sent me to prison was much smaller than what my actual status was in my city at that time. I was actually into a lot of stuff and had a lot of influence and was influenced by a lot of people as well. And I don't really like when you first go through your process of changing or the initial effect of it, you'll find yourself glorifying it. It's like it's almost like you think they give you some status telling folks
like some type of badge of honor.
Yeah, I had this. I was moving this. My connect gave me this. I was doing this a week. I had this much. Man, all that sound. The further you get away, it sounds so crazy. It's crazy, stupid, because you realize, man, I could have got killed doing this, or I could have got he'll be doing time for doing this. You know, you ain't realize. I heard a person say the more comfortable you get, the harder it is to change.
Right.
That's why they put HVAC systems in the projects, because if they'd left them hot, people that got out the bricks. But when
Right.
they start putting central heat in there, it's almost like a townhouse to somebody now. Why would
Right.
it? Why would, but you know, it was known, and that's how life is. The dope game will get you so comfortable. If you don't have any trouble, you don't have somebody robbing you, you don't have somebody shooting at you, you don't have somebody trying to put the police on you, don't have no run-ins with the law. Oh man, 2 years to turn to 20 years in the game real quick.
Right. Right. Hey, Stephen, you dropping some real jewels. I hope everybody out there is really getting it, because it sounds like that's some real jewels that you're dropping. Like, so basically you saying, if I'm hearing you right, you saying like comfortability could actually be the enemy of change and progress.
Yes,
That's
because
crazy.
you don't um if you comfortable, you don't realize it's wrong. So you know, they in the first stage, and when they talk about the stage of change, they talk about pre-contemplation. You're not aware that it's a problem, because you blinded by the perks. You blinded by, it's sort of like a high profile athlete right now,
Right.
or maybe a rapper that don't realize he has a bad deal, but he'll never realize he have a bad deal until it's too late, because he has the jewelry, he has all the things, the cars, he has the women, he has the fame, he has the attention. So
Right.
he'll never focus on what was wrong until it's too late. And that's
Right.
the life of a hustler. He can't see himself while he in the game. While he's
Right.
out there, he's unaware. He's I heard another thing. It says, when my emotions is high, my intelligence is low.
Wow.
When my intelligence is high, my emotions is low.
Got you.
So if I'm if I'm thinking, if I'm thinking, I'm not loving. But if I'm loving, I'm not thinking.
Give it
So
to us
when
one more time, man.
you
From the beginning. Yeah, no, if my hold on,
it says,
if my intelligence is high.
when your emotions is high, your intelligence is low.
Right.
When your intelligence is high, your emotion. So when I'm thinking, I'm not quick to love. But if I love first, I think last.
Got you.
That's why a car salesman wants you to like what you see.
Right.
You're not worried about your interest rate. You're not worried about that they just gave you $2 for your trade in. You're not worried about being bottom side up, because you fell in love or you went in on an emotional roller coaster.
Right.
That's why a thinker is hard to sell. What a dope game gets you with the visuals. It gets
Dope.
you, it gets you with the club scene. It gets you with the barbershop talk. It gets
Right.
you with pushing the car down the hood and pulling up at the store, and everybody going crazy because you just pulled up in there in a in a
Mhm.
in a yellow lamb chop. You know, they you getting a whole, your ego is stroked all day from sun up to
Right.
sundown to be affiliated with you. That's the life of a hustler. And everybody he see is just like they stacking blindfolds on top of each other. They just steady putting blindfolds on top of each other. So even when he take 3 blindfolds off, he can't see because he got 20 more on.
Wow.
So when when his intelligence is high, now you're gonna make decisions based on what you know, not what you feel. That's why it's so hard for certain people, a athlete. This just, I mean, because to me, a hustler is like the hood athlete.
Right.
What a NBA or NFL player is, the closest thing in the hood to seeing those guys at one point in our life was the neighborhood dope man.
That's right.
He's the neighborhood dope.
A lot of times they grew up athletes. A lot of times seems like they want to be like the dope boy. And in
Right.
some instances we see that now. and it's really, it's a problem because they didn't so-called made it, but they still trying to live like they want to be in the streets.
Well, it's a behavior. It's a certain. It's a certain. It's a certain. It's a certain. It's a person without a name. Basically, it's a certain behavior, and everybody chases it. The athletes, the hustlers, and the rappers all chase the same thing
It's like a drug.
because it's a feeling.
It's a dopamine high or something.
Correct.
Because listen, because so what the OG told you, you got the lesson, but you one of the few. A lot of people don't get the lesson because, like you said, he told you straight up, like, "Yo, this is the dumbest thing you're doing." And I used to say, because I had different type of advice passed down to me when I was doing my bid, and I got the lesson. And when you come home, it's almost like a badge of honor, where dudes is looking at you like, "Yeah, you did some time, like you didn't graduate it." But really, I'm saying, nah. I felt like a straight sucker during that time and being away from my family. Like, don't look at me like I did something. All I did was I just did the time. But really, I was away from my family for that time. So there was nothing to be like celebrated about because you went to prison and left your family to defend for themselves.
I look back at it and I try to figure out, how did I get there?
And what did you figure?
Well, I was doing a whole lot of nothing before I got there. And see, doing nothing is just as harmful as doing the wrong thing.
That's right.
Because you got to be in that nothing. You got to be in a place where you know what you got to lose. You got to be in that place in life where you know you are already somebody. The dope game didn't make you somebody. So when you're doing nothing, I remember not having a job nor going to school. I remember these things. So when I look back and say, life had made me vulnerable. I was vulnerable because I wasn't doing nothing. So that's why it's hard. It's why it's so easy to get in and it's so hard to get out.
Easy to get in, but it's hard to get out.
Because you're vulnerable.
Gotcha.
And if you're playing and you've never put your heart, your everything into something else, see, that's the most people, that's the most effort some people have. Is some people in this world that they have never put their all into anything like they had the dope game.
Right.
They've never put it into raising their kids. They've never been committed to a relationship. The most committable relationship a lot of hustlers have had was him in the game.
Wow.
Wouldn't even cheat on the game.
Right.
He wouldn't flirt with getting a job. He wouldn't even entertain the conversation of going to trade school. He wouldn't even, and then he's so locked in and committed to that relationship that even he get a couple of, he up a couple of 100,000 and he still won't go over there and open up a church's chicken or open up a wing spot or just buy a piece of land and put something on it because he say, hey, all I want to do is hustle.
You teach.
But see, I'm gonna tell you what I told as I continue to talk about different chapters of my life as I after prison life, after graduating, and I got hired in the court system and once I got my master's of social work degree, and I became a case manager at drug court. And I remember now I have relationships with judges. And I remember telling a judge this right here, because she liked to hear everything that I have going for myself. And I share all my accomplishments. And she'd tell me, she'd be like, the world needs to hear this. The world needs to know that it's life after the dope game. It's life after prison. I am so proud of you. I said, Judge, let me tell you something I realized. My grind was legal. My hustle was legal. My product was illegal. I didn't have to change my grind and change my hustle. I just had to switch my product. I put the dope, picked up houses. I put the dope down and picked up pencils and pens. You see what I'm saying? So I didn't have to learn how to want more because I wasn't satisfied at the level I was on coming to the game. I wanted to climb. So I had to figure out, hey, let's switch this out and let's figure out how to buy out my community. Let's figure this out, how to move up and chase a bigger salary in the school system or through corporate America. I've had to hopscotch around to, I've never been just given the best paying jobs. But I also looked at my jobs like assignments. I didn't look at it like I was looking to get paid. I was told if I chase money, I always be unhappy. But if I chase purpose, I could be satisfied with the compensation because my compensation will be seeing people do better and seeing people change. And my money, just the money they give me, will just be extra. And so I
Right.
try to make myself think that it's not about the money because money sent me to prison. The
That's dope.
wanting a bunch of money and wanting it right away took a part of me away that I can't get back. But the only way I can capitalize and say, okay, government, make the government realize y'all didn't hurt me, y'all helped me. And the only way I could make them mad is to say, okay, I never do that again.
Right.
And I'm gonna take this time and recreate myself. I don't know if you remember the $1 Million Man. They used to have a show. I think it was either $1 Billion Man or $1 Million Man. It was a show that used to come on years ago in the early 80s. And it was about an astronaut that died on his way to space. But he didn't
I
die.
remember that.
He was in a bad accident. You can look at the intro. When next time you're on YouTube, say you Google $1 Million Man intro
Okay.
TV show. And they go and recover the body. And he wasn't dead, but he was severely damaged. And they asked the doctor, can he be saved? He said, I can rebuild him. I will make him smarter, stronger, and faster. So now they put like some mechanical parts in him. So he was like half human and half robot.
Wait, you
That
mean the
was my
Bionic Man?
similar to that, something like
Okay,
that.
okay, not the same thing. All right.
My mindset going through this right here that I looked at prison like it wasn't punishment, it was development. And because this is the most selfish thing you ever do. Prison is the most selfish thing you ever do. You'll never get that much alone time. You'll never be away from your kids keeping you up at night. You never
right.
have not saying, hey, can you take that garbage out? Hey, can you change that light bulb?
That's right.
Prison, completely you working on yourself. So I said, you know what? I need a plan.
Right.
So I got in. One day they asked me to get in Toastmasters. I didn't like speaking in front of folks.
In prison?
In prison, I got in Toastmasters.
There was a Toastmasters in prison?
It was a Toastmasters in prison.
Wow, I didn't know that.
It was a guy. It was an ex-NFL player. He was in that where we were. He was over there. And I was like, what y'all doing Toastmasters? He said, teach you how to speak without using crutch words and take all the and all that out. Said to make you a better speaker, help you, enhance your public speaking skills. And just to have something to do, I started going and I started liking it. And I saw the people that was in there was people who I could look around the campus, because even in prison is a lot like just regular society. A lot of people think it's just like regular society. Cornballs run with cornballs, suckers run with suckers, OGs run with OGs, the businessmen click up with the businessmen. So you very quickly can distinguish the fools, and you can see the people who got a plan and people who, because a lot of people are resourceful.
No
a lot
doubt.
of people, you meet a lot of people, and then you get a lot of validation, because I met a lot of people. I had a guy, he's dead today. He was the mayor of Wake Forest. He was the mayor. One time I was a mayor. We sitting outside the bench after the chow hall, and he called me over there. He said, "Hey, Bama, come here for a minute." I said, "Yes, sir. What's going on?" He said, "I'm gonna tell you something." He said, "You go home in 2 weeks?" I'm like, "Yes, sir." He was an older gentleman. I'm like, "Yes, sir." I'll tell you something. He said, "I've been around a lot of millionaires in my life." He said, "You got street sense, you got book sense, and you have a great personality." He said, "You got everything." He said, "A lot of people that I've been around that was very, very successful was nasty people. They wasn't nice to be around." He said, "You have it all."
Wow.
He said, I can change the world. I held on to those words.
As you should.
I held on to it and I said, you know what? I appreciate you telling me that. And when I got home, a lot of people who I kept in contact with have passed away now. He's one of them. They would follow my wife page on Facebook. They would see a lot of the stuff with my kids because one thing I can say, the people I kept in contact with, they tell me, they say, you did everything you was going to do. You said you was going to do when you was locked up. And that means the world to me. Another prime example. I'm going to give you another prime example. I know
All
I'm
right.
all over. I'll let you
No,
follow your
no,
point.
no, no. It's good because people need to hear this. Everything you're saying is what people need to hear. That's real.
I remember the guy who set me up. The guy who set me up. I get the phone call later that night, like, hey, don't fool with such and such. He the police. It was too late. I'd already fooled with him.
Right.
It was small, but I knew he wasn't satisfied. He called me the next morning. He said, hey, big boy, hey, I need to get with you again.
Mm.
Hey, I don't let him know what I've been told. I said,
Right.
hey, won't you meet me somewhere? I said, I got you. So I go empty-handed. I look him in his face because he was a childhood friend. He grew up
Wow.
next growing up
And where did you grow up?
in Alabama in our
Okay.
community. He grew up right next door to me.
Okay.
I
Did you
looked
do
at him
Fed time or state time?
bedtime.
Okay.
I looked at him in his face and I told him this. I said, I know you set me up last night. I said, I said, I know what you did last night. I know you got
Wow.
me. I said, but I'm gonna let you know this. I'm gonna go do this little time because y'all didn't get what you wanted. Cause I know he's wired up. I know they can hear
Right.
me.
Right.
I
Right.
said, I said, I'm gonna go do this time and I'm gonna come back home and get me a couple of degrees and I'm gonna get me a job.
Wow.
Said, you gonna always sell dope. I said, cause you refuse to change. I said,
There you
but
go.
you're not gonna change. I said, but I'm gonna change. I said, I'm gonna show you different. And I told him, I said, hey, be careful what these folk got you out here doing to folks, boy. You playing a
Wow.
I wish I had that video or that tape, that audio, because everything I told him I was gonna do,
You did.
I do it. I saw his girlfriend drop his baby mama girlfriend, somebody drop his kids off. I haven't seen him in years. It's been years. I ran into him one day in the grocery store. I was mad at one point. I was wondering how I would react when I see him.
Mm-hmm.
But then I realized I can't be mad at him because I won. They asked me, what you mean you won? I won.
And no question.
He he made me better.
Right.
I wouldn't be who I am today without that.
Right.
If you take out my life, what would I be doing? That everything in my life has been centered around that mistake. And
Wow.
it enhanced. You know they say they say if you lose one of your senses, if you go blind, your
Another
hearing or
one gets better.
something
Right.
become abnormal. And I feel like when you took my freedom away from me, you enhanced something from me. You
No
made
question.
that else get stronger. You made my drive get stronger. You made my motivation get stronger. You made my and it's not even about me because the things I can't even be transparent with people. I can't even tell people how good God has been to me. I can't even
Right.
tell. I don't. I don't even share everything from like a business standpoint or whatever. Because people tell me, man, you don't even look like you've been down that road. When I tell
Right.
people that, because I have to sometimes tell people because I don't want people to be ashamed of who they used to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't gonna say I told the secretary of my job the other day, her and another lady was standing there. They was like, Mr. Jones, you just be so happy to be at work. I said, I've been in workplace. They said, you've been in worse place. What you used to work at another school? I said, nah. I said, I've been locked up before.
They couldn't believe it.
They said, locked up.
Yeah, I already know.
I
They can't
know.
understand how you're so happy all the time every day. You got a different level of appreciation that unless somebody has really been through something before, they may not really recognize why and understand how are you so grateful every single day that you wake up, no matter what.
Had to take couldn't take a shower in my shower.
Right.
Couldn't at the table. I couldn't pick the menu out. I couldn't go to Walmart and walk around in there. So couldn't be part of my kids' accomplishments. So when I think about you just think about these things, man, and it's just so hard for me sometimes to think I went through all this for some money.
Right.
Money?
And it wasn't
Something
even no real money.
something they print out every day. When I'm looking at TV, they tell me somebody else has raised $6 billion to buy an NFL team or something like that. And I'm like, and you mean tell me I went to jail for chasing some thousands? Thousand there? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Locked up with dudes and they got phantoms up. They got pictures of phantoms up on their board. They
Right.
got celebrities that they done bagged and stuff. And I'm sitting over here. I had a couple of Crown Vics, a couple of Grand Marquis, a couple of I ain't had nothing foreign. They got Ashton Martins up here. So I was sitting here like saying to myself, you mean tell me I put a price on my life? I remember sitting in there, it was raining one day. I couldn't get out in the yard. I think I shared this with the young lady who made the initial call. And Brown versus Board of Education was on TV in the
Right.
TV room.
Tell us for those that don't know. And what was the opinion in that case? I mean, why was that case so significant? Brown versus Board of Education.
It's about Thurgood Marshall and about as blacks having the right to be educated, the
Right.
right to go to school, and the right to go to public schools and stuff. And so when I thought about it, I said, wait a minute, people died. People died for me to vote. I don't vote at that time.
Right.
People died to go to school, and I wasn't trying to educate myself. And I just started thinking about it like, come on, man. Well, did I really think I was born to get out here and destroy my community and help get houses condemned and help get kids taken away from them and help people be controlled by a substance? But it took prison for me to take time to look at it and process it like that. So now I remember also while in prison reading a piece of literature where it's talked about, they said if a slave owner slaves learn to read and write, the slave owner would be fined.
Wow.
That if you they said the reason why, because they said if you ever let slaves learn how to read and write, soon slavery will soon be abolished.
Right.
So you may tell me if knowledge has that much power, because slavery was one of the strongest machines and movements that ever existed. If
Right.
not is that much, if knowledge is that powerful that it can change slavery, that means knowledge can keep me free.
There you go.
That means every time I encourage a kid, teach a kid, whether by way of something I share them or encouraging them to learn more, encouraging them to read, I'm helping them stay free.
Wow.
Because if he could do it back then with no resources, I heard somebody say back in the day we had more drive and no resources. Today we have all the resources and no drive.
So we take a lot of things for granted.
I mean, Harriet Tubman can call an Uber now. She can catch a plane. You
Right.
know? So now we don't have. I told kids today, this very day, I went in the classroom. I just had a lot on my mind about these kids. I told them, I said, listen. I said, y'all listen to me. I said, what you eat today won't keep you full tomorrow. you got to eat again.
That's
I
right.
said, that just don't change with y'all. I said, because you're going to eat again tomorrow. What you eat today will only get you through the day. You got to feed yourself again tomorrow. I said, I don't care if your mama smoked dope. I don't care if you don't know your daddy. I don't care if you only got a grandmama. I don't care if you just live with auntie. I don't care if you're in the foster care. I say, you breathing right now. You can hear me. You can see me. You have no excuses. I said, you can make it. You can make it with the situation you got. You can make it. I said, you can make it up that with that mom and daddy you got. You can make it. You can make it with that. You 5'2". You want to be 6 foot, but you 5'2". You can still make it.
That's
You
no
might not,
joke.
you know, you don't know your daddy name. You don't need to know him. He okay. He missed out. You're gonna still make it. It's a lot of stuff that we think we got to have perfect situations. So we got to let people know, embrace who you are. It is what it is. If we could change it, we'd all make a perfect situation and we wouldn't be here today. It was our imperfections that guided our bad choices, but our bad choices set us up for some of the blessings that we could have never got on our own.
That's right.
Which
That's no joke. Let me ask you, did you have a family when you went to prison?
I had a wife and 4 kids. One of my
When you went
kids,
to prison?
yeah,
What year did you go in?
I went in 2010.
Okay.
Got out right at the end of 2000. I did the drug program, so I got 12 months
Right.
off. Went
Okay.
to the right uh, mid 12, and did those 6 months and made it on back.
What was the hardest thing for you to deal with when you one of the hardest things for you to deal with when when you first got sentenced and you realized that you had to leave your family, and I imagine that might have been one of the hardest things to deal with. And how was it on your family, on your wife, on your children while you were
Well,
away?
I lied to my kids and told them I was going off to school. That I was going off to school because my kids were in fifth, third, first, and kindergarten.
Okay. So your oldest was how old?
My oldest had to be 13, 12.
Okay. Did they
When
ever figure out that you wasn't really going to school or to work? Where did you say
I,
school?
my son, the one that's at Georgia Tech now, I took him to kindergarten like the week before I went to prison. I'm on the phone with him one day. I'm on the phone with him, and the little message came in. This call is from a federal
Wow.
facility. He say, "Hold on, Daddy." He said, "Mom, I told you Daddy was in jail." He came on, but
Yeah, they know.
but I never let them come and see me. I never let the
Okay.
kids, because I never wanted them to see me not having power and not being in control. I never wanted them to see me with somebody else telling me to line up and do this and do that. And if I'd had a longer sentence, I probably would have went a
Okay.
different route on the sentence. But I chose to do it that way and just really let that be a punishment within itself for me to say, get back home to kids. Now, I wrote the heck out letters and had everybody in there that could make something, making stuff,
Right.
pulling the little Mickey Mouse flags and
Right.
kept stuff in the mail with them. I mean, we even look back at letters now that I wrote them, speaking about life now, telling them what it was going to be like. And we look back at those moments. I think even from a father standpoint, the biggest thing that was accomplished out of that in my absence, my wife kind of like became more independent. Like
Right.
she became a leader. Because we all dealing with some unknowns. I got an unknown on this side of the fence. She got her unknown on this side of the fence raising these kids.
That's right.
So she had to know that she could handle these kids and keep them being great kids. I had to make sure and realize that I can't survive, because before prison, my only image of prison was Oz.
Right.
And everyday media make you think that everybody in prison is a killer, and prison
That's
is
right.
such a violent, aggressive place. And you can get into the wrong stuff if you that guy and you go in looking for the wrong stuff. But it's also, I've made some of my closest friends that I talk to on a daily basis now,
There you go.
and I wouldn't trade them for nothing. So I say, I didn't know what all I was gonna get going there. I got some friends that I know I can call them quicker than I can some people I've been knowing my whole life. They gonna come and see about me. And that was so, I remember being right here where I'm at in my house. I remember just crying every day, crying because I felt so stupid, crying because I had that guilt. I'm like, damn, I'm finna leave my family and my kids don't even know it. They
Right.
don't even know it. They don't even know they daddy a loser. They don't even know they daddy have let something, a game that's so simple that nobody has beat. Nobody's beaten the dope game.
Right.
I've seen so many people in my city go to prison. Why the hell did I have to follow suit? I've had so many people close to me, and I know, why would I put myself in this position? So just to sit here and think about that now, and
Yeah.
to be here on this very couch upstairs in this very hallway where I've walked many a days, not knowing how it was going to turn out.
Right.
And I and say, thank you, God. Thank you for bringing me through. Thank you for giving me the heart and the mindset to not only want to come through for myself, but to care about everybody else. I really, in my heart, man, I hope I can keep all young kids. I hope I can encourage the ones that's laying in that rack that's getting ready to come home. I got a partner gonna hit the halfway house in about a week. I'm trying to
Okay.
find him. I'm trying to find him a job. I'm trying to line things up for him. I'm trying to tell him what to get ready to deal with because it's the psychological part. You
Right.
happy to be free, but that's gonna wear off soon. And you're not gonna be so happy because people gonna get tired of, you're gonna be a big deal at first. You know, you
I already know.
now let me say something now. That's the greatest feeling in the world that day you walk out.
Right.
But once the dust settles and you start looking in the mirror and you don't feel so good about yourself because you think you know every damn thing when you come home from prison. You think you're the smartest man on earth. You come
Right.
home and tell everybody in your family what they doing wrong. You
Right.
tell everybody how their business not making money. You telling everybody how they can
Right.
become millionaires. People start hating to see you come around because you won't shut up. You
It's a
like,
gift and a curse because while
yeah,
we was in there, you had the ability to, like you said, it's a selfish act, but you can really grow from it because you got the ability to focus. You don't have the responsibilities that you had when you was on the street. So a lot of times, people such as yourself, if you choose to focus on yourself, you can really come out better. But then, like you say, you come home and you really underestimating and forgetting while you were in prison and you didn't have anything to worry about except focusing on yourself and sharpening your mind and sharpening yourself. Everybody else was still struggling with the day-to-day rigors of life. So, it sounds like to me, God, was it God that was able to help you get over that feeling of guilt? What was it?
I think that the feeling of guilt, it left once I knew they could see everything made me better.
Okay.
See, the only man that should really feel guilty is the man who come back home and go right back to it. He don't feel bad because he don't care. But I knew it was a good trade out. It made me better than I ever could be. And I ain't gonna say just the entire situation, the dope game, learning people, learning how to deal with situations. It's things that I have, it made me discover my gift. I know how to deal with corporate America better because of the streets. I don't
Right.
tell nobody to go get that street education, but I have it. I have it. So I know how to peep in street terms. I know how to peep game real quick.
Right.
Know how to maintain. I know when people don't mean me well now. I know how to remove myself from situations, and I learned how to stop wanting attention. That's the big thing about a dope boy. Dope boy want too much attention. See, it's completely opposite of where the world at now, because everybody's got the camera on themselves now.
Right.
Back in the day, they couldn't have got me and you to do a podcast or go live, go live on IG or do
Right.
Snapchat stuff. But now you see guys that's out there still in the mix, and
That's
now
right. On IG with it.
they recording themselves.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hey,
they're giving the government a case. They let them
yeah.
know, listen, if you want to build a case on me, you just tap in.
So initially, man, the guilt left when I knew I wouldn't do it to him again. But I had to learn that I can't do it to myself.
Right.
No matter how people's lives I think I affected, I didn't affect anybody's like I affected my own.
There you go.
I affected my own mental health. I affected my own self-esteem. I had to deal with my own, I had to look in my own blind spots and see, boy, you really don't love yourself? You really think you gotta have money to be special?
Right.
You really got to have the best car. You really got to have the jewelry. You got to really have all these things to feel good about yourself.
So I want
So
to ask you something, Stephen. I don't mean to cut you off, but that's that's key what you're saying, because so I got someone else that I had a conversation with. And one of the things he said is similar to something that you said. That's why I want to hone in on that and give you an ability to even expand on that a little more. Because he said when he started learning himself, he said, and this is an individual that did 11 years, he said he realized that more than the actual dope game that he was addicted to, he said he was addicted to the shit talking. He was addicted to that feeling of people looking at him. And he said he realized he can get that, just by playing, by doing other things that he's doing. So what
well,
would you tell, like, I hear you saying, like, what type of advice would you give to someone that doesn't love themselves or feel like they need that attention?
well, the first thing I'm gonna piggyback off everything you just said. One of the hardest parts that people really think they in love with the dope game is about. They in love with the acceptance, because most of them was rejected early in life when people walked out their lives, as such as their fathers and
Wow.
friends and things like that. So they was rejected as kids. And then the things that they fall in love with was the social side of it, being part of a team. See, while other people it gave them that same feeling that they once had once they played pee wee football. They was on a team. They played high school football. They was involved in something. So next thing they was on was a dope team. They was on a squad. And they was in a clique. A lot of people can't stop gang banging because they love the brotherhood. They're not addicted to shooting people. They're not addicted to
Right.
fighting. They're addicted to the brotherhood. It soothes their heart. They feel like there's something. So now they're going to say, I killed somebody about my homeboy. And they'll go do these things because they've never loved anything before. And now they feel loved. See, one thing
Wow.
about this living as humans, we need to be part of something. It's
That's right.
part of human development. So the person who struggles with the things that come with the dope game has to, first of all, if he ever step outside the box and get involved in anything else, I'm talking about if he start breeding dogs with somebody, he start washing cars with somebody, he start cutting grass with somebody, if he can get involved with different people, but most people, it happens with, that's why it happens from a spiritual standpoint. That's why you have a lot of guys when they get locked up, get incarcerated. It's so easy for them to get involved. They're gonna figure out which walk they want to walk with their spirituality. You see what I'm saying? because it was the addiction of the brotherhood, that accepted.
Wow.
That's what we crave as people, is to be accepted by a group, not just one or two. We want to know three or four. We want to know a lot of people love us. We want to know a lot of people like us. Everybody don't have families. And then everybody who, if you've been a person who been dysfunctional, done kicked up a little dust, been in and out of trouble, whatever, you ain't partake in none of the family reunions. You never been around grandma and them. You never been around them when you were able to make a choice to be around them. A lot of people spent time with their family when they were kids and they didn't have a choice. But once they got old enough to say, am I going over here on the west side, or am I going over here with mom and them? Oh, I'm going over here on the west side. So they was accepted by another group of people. So that's the thing that they got to figure out. Hey, what else do I have in common about myself? Sit down. That person needs to sit down and write down 5 to 10 things, or maybe five. I say a short list. Write down 5 things that they enjoy doing that doesn't cost money and it's not illegal.
Right.
Five, 5 things that make them happy that don't cost any of that. Once they figure it out there, they're gonna be okay, well, I like bowling. I like bowling.
Gotcha.
I like this. I like that. Once they fall in love with something else, that is a crowd there waiting on them.
That's right.
School be a different crowd. I remember I got back in school before I actually got in trouble, before I got my case. And I remember going to school gave me an escape, because I felt like I could sleep, I could find peace, and I could now the teacher asking me to come up to the board and do a math problem. I felt like a kid again. She didn't ask. I didn't have to have no money in my pocket. I was somebody by just walking in the room.
Wow.
So we got to get back, that we unpack this baggage and quit living up to this persona that the streets have created, and go back and realize that we were born great. We didn't have to find greatness. We were born great. We were created
Wow.
great. So I need to tap in with the people who love me for me. It's no different when I heard a man say, how do you purify gold? You purify gold by heating it up to a certain temperature and cooking the trash off. And the only way you know it's 100% purified when you can see your reflection. And when you see your pure reflection, and that's what life do. Life put a lot of trash and it distort our vision. We think we got to dress a certain kind of way, we got to live a certain kind of way, and we got to have a certain kind of level of success for people to validate us as a person. And that's too much. That's too much to live up to every day.
I like that. I like that. That's heavy. That's a real good analogy. Do you think that social media even, plays a role in maybe enhancing that same mindset that so many people have, where they're just starving for attention or acceptance or being a part of a group?
Social media made it that much worse, because social media will make you hate your life.
Wow. Hate
Social
your
media
life.
will make you hate your life. It'll
How
make you
so?
hate reality, because it make you think that your life is just so unfair once you compare it to the opposite end of the spectrum. I just told one of my partners this other day. I said, man, I wish we could. I said, I know we want to look inside athletes' personal lives and stuff. I said, man, but nobody saw Larry Bird house, Johnson house, Byron Scott them houses. Nobody knew what Isaiah Thomas, unless you was in that circle. I wish people could just get back to being people and like people for who they are. You
Right.
know, I said, because now you have so many people that it it influences us. It make you, social media it could be devastating to the youth. It
No
has some
doubt.
good.
It is devastating to the youth.
It make the world small,
Right.
but it make the accessibility of problems and the things, the devices, the it's just so much to come with it, man. And that acceptance, man, so many people, you'd be surprised at how many adults, grown people, struggle with living a lie for social media.
Right.
And if you own it's nothing like that. But they got to
It's
make people
sad.
think it's
Right. Because they're comparing their lives to someone else's highlight reel.
correct.
It's not even real.
Correct. You're exactly right. You're exactly right.
I know you mentioned earlier, like, among other things, you mentioned like the feeling of guilt, like mental illness, like, are those some of those things you still struggle with? Or, I mean, I know that you gave us some of the game on how
Well,
you overcame it.
with me being by career choice, I have my master's in social work, so I've been educated on a lot of things for us dealing with mental illness and whatever. So I take my education and the skill set that I had to know different coping skills and things I do to know how to handle certain feelings and certain emotions. I tell anybody, if you had a broke arm, would you go to the hospital or would you let somebody just wrap it up and put a towel around it? You go to the emergency room. So when your
Right.
feelings are broken and when your thoughts are broken, you need to see about them the same way you would your arm. We got to defeat stigma in our
There you go.
community. I think that with me, I've been fortunate enough that I've been able to handle that very well, and I'm an advocate of helping other people handle those things. So I don't struggle with it. I can, and I know how to have empathy because I've had those shoes on. So I know some people might be like, oh, I'm dealing with depression. And I ask them, okay, do you work? No, I don't work. I can't
Mhm.
find no job. I don't have no place. My car tore up. You ain't depressed. You just got a lot of bad luck right now. Because
Right.
if I car right now and give you a place to stay and give you a job, you're no longer depressed. So that wasn't depression. That was just life. And
Right.
you just hits at all the same time. So it's some I think depression, you know, it's subjective. You have some people that struggle with being happy regardless of where they at far as their social status, no matter what if they up or down, their emotions. We got people dealing with past trauma. We got people dealing with abuse, having to live through it and been through a whole lot of stuff in their lifetime, and they got it packaged up. That goes back to say, when you try to figure out what led you to the dope game, what led you to this, what led your decision making and stuff, some of our issues were forced because other people dropped the ball.
Right.
But
No doubt.
and I'm speaking for the masses because I've been blessed with a wonderful mother and a wonderful daddy. So I'm not speaking from a personal account when I say this, but I do speak from like in situations where I've had to counsel people or to be that professional in the room. I say, hey, it's a struggle for people to be what they never had. You don't get a manual with kids.
That's right.
Sometimes it's hard for a father to be a father. He never had a father. So he don't know the importance of coming to the game. Some people have to learn by what they didn't have, not so much of this is what I was taught. And what you didn't have don't always teach you. You still got to be taught how to do it,
That's
how to
right.
be. And so that go with cover a lot of different stuff. But I I got 10% left on my phone, man. This my
Listen, you're good, because I was about to say we just got a few minutes left. Certainly appreciate your time, but I want to give you an opportunity. You just said a mouthful, and you might not even have to say anything else. But if you got something that you could think of to tell someone that's going through it right now, somebody that been through it, somebody that been down, you can say that quickly, and then also give us an opportunity for people to know where to find you. If you got any social media handles that you want to give out, Facebook, what have you, this is your opportunity.
I got you. I tell anybody right now, man, no matter where you at, whether you coming home from prison, headed to prison, or been to prison, or any other obstacle that's been in your life and made any other mistake, tomorrow brings a better day. Tomorrow brings a better day. And don't be defined by where you at today. You got your now and you got your next. And you got to go through what you're going through now to get what's next. But just know the excitement of what's next is sometimes the only thing that fuels you through whatever you're fighting right now. Because no, it's not fun when you're in the belly of the beast. And no, you don't really see how bright the future is going to be, but you got to take it one day at a time. Take it one day at a time, one decision at a time, and know that if I put together enough good days, I'm going to have a good month. And if I put together a couple of good months, I'm going to have a good year. And if I put together a couple of good years, I can finish this thing up and say I had a good life. So don't let people define you. Don't be ashamed of where you've been. Don't let people tell you what you can't do because you living in a life that's without limits. You were born great. We were born kings. We were born queens. And we can do this thing the right way, and we can win while we're doing it. We can win. And we can take the scars and all and still win. So if you're a parent, if you're a mother, you're a father, give your kids all that you have. Be everything that you dreamed of having. If you don't have education, go get you some education. I'm not saying college is everybody right. You might just want to trade, but get you some education. Get involved in your communities. Buy some of the more regular houses in your street that you grew up in. Own some stuff. Create some stuff. You were born to own. You don't have to beg. You don't have to be rich to be an owner. I bought houses on a $27,000 a year job. Start from the bottom and take it one step at a time. But just know this right here, doing it the right way will always win. It might be, hey, I'd rather have a slow nickel than a fast dime.
All right. I love it.
Hey, and I'm on Instagram, SJ S Jones Motivation. Y'all go on there. I'm gonna start back posting my speaking and stuff. And man, this is a beautiful platform, man. I salute you, my brother. I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing because see, it's people like you that open doors for people like me. It's people like you that's gonna change the world. It's not gonna be Jeff Bezos. It's not gonna be the upper the 1% of the wealth in the world. It's gonna be the people that was ground up. It's gonna be the people that's been through something, got back up, and say, "Hey, I'm gonna make a difference. I'm gonna change the game. I'm gonna change my community." You changed you, and now you giving other people a platform to be heard because you're a visionary.
No
You're a
doubt.
vision. Keep doing what you're doing, man. God bless you. And I'm here to be part of whatever In and Out has to do moving forward.
I
Keep me
appreciate
posted.
that. I appreciate that. And listen, brother, I'm here to say I thank you. I appreciate you. And listen, I've got 1,000 jewels from you myself. You already said something. I was already going to ask you if you promised to come back on. This was the first conversation, and hopefully it's the first of many. And I got a lot of jewels myself. So I'm here to say that I hope all of y'all got the same jewels. I told y'all this brother was authentic. Stephen Jones has been through the fire and he's come out shining. He can see his reflection like shiny gold because the heat that he's been through has made him even better. He went and he did his time. He didn't let the time do him, and he came out better, not bitter. So I really hope that you was listening, hurrying up and listening and getting all of the jewels that you can, because this brother has been through it. He's walking the walk and he's talking the talk. He's an authentic brother and he's an expert in his subject matter. You know where to find us for all of the replays at In and Out WW. That's INNOUTWW on all social media platforms. You can check out the replays anywhere you can find your podcast. We will be launching at a date very soon. And I appreciate y'all for signing in. And now we're out.